Yeah, after some recent jump sessions and a couple bad landings, it's time for some repairs on the Rustler. Nothing serious. It's actually held up pretty well. Major problem. I had one of the shocks. I pulled the rod end out, but I've never had much trouble with the Ultra shocks. After putting the aluminum caps on, until I went ahead and put the RPM shock guards on. The RPM shock guards come with their own rod ends that are squared off so that the shock guard, which replaces the spring cup, doesn't twist and rotate. But the RPM plastic being a little bit softer probably is why it pulled out. I was able to thread it back in and run it a little bit, but it pulled out again because it was stripped, and I lost the spring. It's not a big deal. I don't even have to take the shock off to do this. Just a lower mount. I've got some brand new Traxxas rod ends. You buy them in bulk. I use them for all sorts of different things. I'm gonna save the same ball. Kind of press it to get it out of the one. Here. Okay. Press it into the new one. I'm going to kind of rotate it a little bit as I'm pushing in. Pull up on the rod end, and it should snap into place. Okay. And then just thread it on. Now, you will probably, once you get it started, have to hold the shock shaft so that it doesn't spin. You just hold it with a pair of pliers, but make sure you put some kind of cloth or something over it so you don't scratch the shaft up too badly, because you know, if you get gouges in there, it's going to tear up your O-rings. Go ahead and I'll thread it all the way up. I've got a different set of springs I'm going to be using since I lost the one white one. I'm gonna end up changing the spring on the other side. I'm also going to change the rod end on the other side back to a stock Traxxas shock. And these are, like I said, they were squared off a little bit to run run these shock covers, but the Traxxas ones are hex shaped, but they fit inside there. I still can use these guards. The issue is that it's going to be off to the side a little bit. I'll show you the difference between the RPM end and the Traxxas end in a minute. You'll see see the difference in the angle, but I think it's going to be okay. Okay, now once you get the spring in, go ahead and get that rod end back in position. That tightened down. And then you can either put your original spring cup back on, or in this case I'm going to use that shock guards. Okay. Okay, now if you'll notice, you see the difference. This is kind of off to the side with the Traxxas arm or rod end, and on the with the RPM end, you're a little more centered. Now I can turn it one and be like right there. It's pointed in. It's pretty close to straight, but it's pointed in more than this one. I might leave it right there. Okay. Now I've got to do this to the other side. Change out that spring and the rod end to match. And Oh, one more thing that ended up breaking the upper chassis, upper deck here. Just snapped that corner right off. It's amazing though that I didn't break the chassis or the bulkhead in the process of when everything flexed. I'm gonna probably replace that going up to the hobby shop and get a new one. But I've been using the RPM slash two-wheel drive bumper on this thing, and this thing has a lot of flex. It's like a giant spring on the front end. Probably what saved everything, and the fact that unlike the wide bumper for the Rustler or the Stampede, it uses all 4 screws in the bulkhead instead of just the 2. So that spreads that impact over a lot more. It does stick out a lot farther than that the RPM wide bumper for the Rustler, but I think that's well worth it at this point. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna go ahead and change that back out in a minute, but for now, go ahead, like, subscribe if you want to see updates or more videos. I'll talk to you again later.